If you've been using TikTok for the last couple of years, you might have seen content creators interviewing people and those videos doing extremely well, even for smaller creators. Well, interviewing content might just be the way to grow your audience massively on short form platforms like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Instagram Reels. Today, we're going to look into why that might be the case. Hi, I'm Abby, and welcome back to the GRND Media Podcast, where we discuss the creator economy and growing your following through short form video content. On today's episode, episode 2, we're going to discuss why interviewing people might just be the best way to grow your audience if you're a small creator. If you've been watching TikTok for the last couple of years, you know that interviewing content does very well on the platforms. Not just in one niche, but across many different niches. And if you don't know what interviewing content is, it's basically a content creator going up to people in public and asking them questions. The content is supposed to be non-scripted and on the fly. The interesting aspect being that the reaction and commentary from the people being interviewed is very spontaneous. It's very sporadic. You don't know how people are going to react or what they're going to say, and that's why the content is extremely interesting. I want to give 3 main examples here today about interview type of content and kind of go into the backstories of why they work well, why the audience adheres to it, and even if you are in different type of niches, it can still work for you. So one of the greatest examples of content creators that interview people on their platforms is a content creator called Daniel Mack. You might have heard of him. He's the guy that goes up to people in really nice cars and asks them, "Hey, I really like your car. What do you do for a living?" That's how he became a TikTok star. So if you guys don't know who Daniel Mack is, go check him out on TikTok. He's also on YouTube Shorts, and I believe he does have an Instagram Reels. But Daniel's story really begins in 2020 during the pandemic. And Daniel and his friends apparently saw some really nice supercars. They decided to interview a guy in a supercar, and it came up, and apparently he had around like 10 followers at the time. And it came up and he asked them, "Hey man, I really like your car. What do you do for a living?" And the guy replied back, what he does as his profession. He posted that video. Overnight stories are very cliche, but apparently, next morning when he woke up, he had 2.1 million views on that video. That just goes to show people really adhere to this type of content. I want to give you guys another example, and this example in the finance niche. If I had to put Daniel Mack under a label, I would say it's the finance niche, because you're talking about what people are doing for a living. It's the business niche. You're talking about the profession, how they became so successful financially to afford such a vehicle. So another creator I want to talk about that does this type of interview type of content, their page is called Salary Transparent Street, and the creator's name is Hannah Williams, and she has grown a massive following in the last couple of months here in 2022. And her whole thing about her content is she goes up to people and asks them, "How much money do you make?" Such a raw question, asking random people on the street, "Hey, how much money do you make?" You barely even know them. You put a camera in their face, you put a mic in their face, and then you're asking them one of the most perceived private questions that you can ask an individual, and they go ahead and say what the profession is and how much money they make annually. And this content has been blowing up for Hannah and her channel. I think she's close to about 1 million followers on TikTok. She has millions of views, as you can imagine. And guys, she's only been doing this for a couple of months. I've already bring up the aspects, but why does this type of content work extremely well? And why, the both examples I brought up is in the finance niche. I'm going to bring up another example in the fashion niche that works really well. But here's my intuition of why I think this works well. Now, I must say, I have not tried interview content personally on my pages. I run a couple of tech channels. Obviously, I run the GRND Media page as well. And maybe we should do more interview type of content. Let us know in the comment section below. But I do represent some clients that I've done it. And this is kind of the going into the third example, but my reasoning for why I think interview content works well and why maybe you should try it is because it's very eye catching. If you're walking around the street, it hooks the audience immediately. If you're walking around the street with a mic and you're passing by people, that will hook somebody. Instead of someone endlessly scrolling through TikTok, Instagram Reels, or YouTube Shorts, they will stop as soon as they see that, because going up to people on the street, meeting strangers, that's something that people are generally frightened about. And when you're showing a content piece, you're openly going up to people, you're openly interviewing people. That is very interesting to somebody, especially if they haven't done it themselves, especially if they find that, extremely scary to go up to random people. So you're already doing something against the norm. You're already doing something that invokes interest because they're like, man, I haven't done this. Man, that must be really scary going up to individuals and asking them questions. If someone hasn't done this in this life, they would find this interesting. And it's not really scary, but it's interesting. It's invoking. Some people might be scared of interviewing people, but I implore you that it's easier than you think. And I want to bring light to a content creator that I watched recently on YouTube that he does short form video content on TikTok, Instagram Reels, etc. His name is JC Rodriguez. Go check him out. And he follows into that finance niche as well. And he did a video recently on his YouTube asking Wall Street millionaires how much money they make. And that title and thumbnail right there, it definitely catches the attention. So JC did this in a recent video that he posted about a month ago. I asked a TikTok star for her salary. This was JC at VidCon. He interviewed Hannah Williams from Salary Transparent Street. The whole video is a great video on YouTube because he talks about, most people perceive interviewing people as difficult, but he actually does it in the video where he goes up to people on the street and he talks about how you can make it easier and how it can be easier for you and why you should try it. So I implore you guys to go watch that video. So another reason why I believe interviewing content works is the unpredictableness. Check this out. You have never met this person before on the street. You're about to go ask them an extremely private question. You don't know how they're going to react. And that's extremely powerful when you're trying to capture the audience's attention, because you're essentially playing with three different archetypes here, right? You have the person, the content creator that's doing the interview. You have the interviewee, the random person on the street that's being interviewed, and then you have the audience watching the content, right? And in this trifecta, it's perfect because let's put yourself in the perspective of the audience member, of the random person being interviewed. You see a Gen Z person walking around with a mic that comes up to you asking you a very personal question. Hey, you might be a little taken aback. You're like, why is this random person put a camera in my face? They just asked me a very personal question. What's going to happen? But the funny part is people are so much more open nowadays. Check this out, right? So I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys remember this back in the days of TV, right? You would be watching, Billy on the Street on Comedy Central, right? He's a outrageous comedian that goes up to people randomly and asks them outrageous questions, and people are taken aback. Those are the days of TV, but that was just around 12, 13 years ago. But let's go back even more. Let's go back to the days of early comedy, right? Where people are being punked or people are being pranked in public and they don't know what's going on. The audience love that material because it's the unpredictableness. It's you don't know how someone's going to react. And this is why you should use this type of content, because we are finding that people are hooked to that unpredictableness. And I really want to start doing interview content, and I'm going to be shooting some interview content this week, so I'm really excited about. But I have consulted with some of my clients that I edit videos for, and I've told them, hey, try short form video content where you're interviewing people. And this has actually come to one of my friends' channels. It's a page called Terebinth Jewelry. And they recently started a jewelry company. And on their content, they've been shooting short form video content for about 2 months now. And, their page has been averaging, on Instagram Reels, you've been averaging maybe 50, 60 views. After a couple of days, they had one video get 300 views. So very early on channel, right? The first, piece of advice I gave them was I said, why don't you try posting more, right? You can always do that. But the second piece of advice I said, I was talking to Caleb, the owner of the channel. I said, Caleb, have you tried interviewing people, asking them, hey, what type of jewelry do they wear, and why do they pick that type of jewelry, and how much do they pay for it, what it means to them? Because jewelry for an individual, they might just wear it for looks, but usually it has a deeper meaning. And he did that. He went out to, I think, a college campus, and he interviewed a couple people, and he asked them, hey, what type of jewelry you're wearing? Why do you like that piece of jewelry? What do you look for when you buy a piece of new jewelry? How much did you pay for that jewelry, right? An invoking question whenever you bring finance. And the people being interviewed were very open. They were very courteous. Caleb was obviously, he's a very nice guy. He's very approachable. So it was very easy. It was very transparent. And they agreed to having the videos posted. So I edited one of their videos, and we recently posted on their Instagram Reels and their TikTok. So I'm looking at Terebinth Jewelry's Instagram right now. So they posted 8 videos in the last 2 months. Caleb, if you're hearing this, you gotta step it up, man. Anyway, so the 7 of the 8 last videos, they averaged around 30 to 90 views, right? They had one video get 300, which was really great. But the interview video posted just yesterday, this video getting 3,000 views on Instagram Reels. Now, a lot of the bigger channels, if you hear 3,000, they're like, oh, that's kind of small. But guys, this is a small channel. When they've been averaging 70 to 100 views, getting a video that hits 3,000 views is a big deal. And it kind of shows, and this was their first interview content. This piece of content specifically, they asked, hey, what do you look for when you buy jewelry? And this video has done extremely well. And I kind of want to go on their TikTok, but it's the same 8 videos. And on the 8th video with the interview content, they went from averaging a couple of hundred views to this video doing 900 views, almost 1,000 views. Now, I do implore you, Caleb, if you're listening, go ahead and post this on YouTube Shorts. A lot of organic reach over there too. And you can always gain some subscribers, and that's always great. So, guys, this stuff, we're early in our journey of interviewing content. I'm going to be starting more. I'm going to be imploring my clients to do a little bit more interview content, but this stuff really catches people's attention. And I want to bring forth a third reason why it catches people's attention. Third reason why it works, not necessarily catch people's attention, but why this type of content works. You become a better content creator doing this type of content. Staying in your room or your studio, your office, shooting content for months, years on end is not good for anybody. The content gets repeated. And trust me, I know this. I shoot tech content with PC builds, custom PC builds, custom hardware. And if you're in a studio all day shooting content with an inanimate object, you don't become a better content creator when it comes to the aspect of socializing. Guys, it's called social media. It's meant so that we can socialize with others. That's what this whole thing is all about. You become a better content creator when you get out of the building, put yourself out there, put yourself in an uncomfortable environment, and go up to random people and ask them questions. Now, obviously, your results might vary. You don't go to a nursery and do this type of content, right? That's a little comedic. I hope you guys don't go to those places. But you go to an area where people are more open to speaking, either maybe malls or maybe college campuses or maybe etc. So you go to places where people are more accepting to being approached on the street. Where you improve as a content creator is, like I was saying, being put in that uncomfortable environment, being put in an environment where you are forced to kind of interact with somebody and hold up a conversation, come up with stuff on the fly, improvise, ask them questions, be entertaining, be a content creator. I want you guys to try this week with your short form video content on TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, whatever niche you are. I talked about the finance niche and the fashion niche in this podcast, but I want to do interview content with the tech niche. I want to bring light to a page that I found called Dream Car Club. They're in the car niche, they're in the gearhead niche, and they go up to people and ask them, hey, what kind of car you drive, or what kind of car would you like to be in? this type of interview content can be done across many different niches. So I implore you this week, go ahead and try shooting some content. Be approachable. If someone says, hey, I don't want to be videoed, don't video it. Show them that you're deleting the piece of video. Just be cordial, just be nice, just be approaching. But I do implore you, go try this type of content, try posting it, and let us know at GRND Media how your experience had been. How well did the videos perform? If you guys do like this podcast and it is helpful in growing your audiences on these platforms, make sure you guys click the subscribe button. Leave us a review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Peace.